Headship is not a time problem, it's an energy problem. Most leaders try to manage their calendar, but the real leadership discipline is managing where your energy goes. Because once your energy is gone, your leadership goes with it. Students, they feel it. If leaders appear constantly exhausted or overwhelmed, the organization absorbs that signal. But when leaders maintain calm, steadiness, well, it creates confidence, even in difficult circumstances. This doesn't mean pretending everything is easy. It means leading with emotional discipline. Before we dive back in, I want to say something to head teachers listening. Attendance really improves through effort alone. It improves through clarity and alignment. If attendance still feels fragile in your setting, you can now apply for a senior attendance and leadership review. It begins with a short strategic assessment. If eligible, you'll be invited to claim a private one-to-one strategy session valued and fully funded at £700. That session includes not only a focused leadership review, but also a suite of practical strategic tools, frameworks and templates designed to support your next 90 days and reduce reactive pressure in your context. This is not a compliance audit. This is an opportunity. It's a structured strategic intervention for senior leaders. If this feels relevant to you and your current context, then you can apply now using the link in the show notes or by scanning the code on screen. And now let's return back to the episode. This is Headship After Hours. I'm Paul Collin. With an NPQH and NPQEL, a Level 7 accredited coaching, and as a Future Leaders alumni with more than a decade of headship, I'm still leading. I've led some of the most complex schools in the UK, improving behaviour, stabilising attendance, and rebuilding culture and restoring community trust back into our UK schools. I still work in schools as a head teacher and executive leader, and I'm still supporting head teachers navigating difficult realities. I live it with you, and I know what that weight still feels like. So let's talk. One of the biggest misconceptions about headship is that the problem is time. Leaders say it consistently. In fact, all teachers do. There just aren't enough hours in the day. I need more time. But after years in headship, I've come to realise something different. The real constraint isn't time, it's energy. Because head teachers, and I'm sure all leaders and teachers, don't just manage tasks, they manage people. And people require emotional presence. Every conversation, every decision, every difficult moment, all of it draws from the same leadership resource, and that's energy. Think about a typical day that you have had. A safeguarding issue maybe in the morning, a parental complaint maybe then mid-morning, a staffing challenge, let's say at lunchtime, and a behaviour incident in the afternoon. A strategic meeting then straight after school, and maybe something else early in the evening. None of these things are just administrative. They are emotional. They are absorbing the concerns of others, holding calm in difficult moments, making decisions that affect other people's lives. And by the end of the day, what most leaders feel is not simple tiredness. It's that real sense of depletion. The problem is that many leaders try to solve this by managing time more tightly, more scheduling, for example, more efficiency around that, more squeezing things in and less time for reflection. But efficiency doesn't create energy. Leadership sustainability comes from understanding the energy economy of headship, where your energy is spent, where it is protected, and of course, where it is restored. There are three places where leaders lose, in my opinion, the most energy. Number one is unstructured decision making. Every small decision drains that sort of sense of cognitive energy. When leaders are pulled into dozens of minor decisions each day, it fragments focus. The strongest leaders I know create clear decision pathways. What must come to the head teacher? What sits with the leadership team? What is owned by middle leaders? Not because they are avoiding responsibility, but because energy must be spent where leadership impact is highest. Number two is emotional containment. Head teachers often become the emotional container for the entire organization. Staff concerns, for example, student issues, parental pressure, community tensions. All of it arrives at the head teacher's door. And while this is, of course, part of the role, it can't be carried alone. That's why leadership networks really matter. Trusted colleagues that you can speak to in a kind of real sense of confidentiality, mentors, coaches, people who understand the weight, because leadership without reflection, well, that definitely becomes isolation. Another three is reactive leadership, when leaders spend their day reacting to events rather than shaping direction or something similar. Well, energy drains quickly. Emails, interruptions, urgent requests, emergencies, all necessary. But if the entire week becomes reactive, leaders lose the sense of strategic control. That's why designing parts of your week deliberately, well, that really matters. Protecting thinking time, strategic conversations, moments where you are leading the school forward, not just managing the present. There is something else worth saying here. Energy is contagious. Staff, they read it. Students, they feel it. If leaders appear constantly exhausted or overwhelmed, the organization absorbs that signal. But when leaders maintain calm steadiness, well, it creates confidence, even in difficult circumstances. This doesn't mean pretending everything is easy. It means leading with emotional discipline. One of the most important shifts in my own leadership came when I stopped asking, how do I fit everything in? And instead, I started asking myself, where is my leadership energy best spent today? The answer was rarely in the inbox. It was, of course, in culture, presence, strategic clarity, that sense of supporting leaders around me. Because the head teacher's energy is not just a personal resource, it is a leadership signal. And if you are feeling depleted right now, pause and ask yourself these three questions. Where is my energy being drained unnecessarily? Where should my energy actually be invested? And what needs to change so leadership becomes more sustainable again? Because the strongest leaders are not the ones who work the longest hours. They are the ones who manage their energy with intention. Headship will always demand a lot of the individual, but it should not consume everything. And learning to manage the energy economy of leadership is one of the most important disciplines a head teacher can develop. If something in this episode resonated, well, sit with it for a moment. Leadership is not meant to be carried in silence. If this conversation has helped you feel less alone, well, that matters. This is Headship After Hours. We'll keep talking and stay connected. If you're a head teacher carrying attendance pressure, you can apply for the Senior Attendance and Leadership Review. It starts with a short assessment. Eligible leaders are invited then to claim a fully funded £700 private strategic session, including practical leadership tools to support a clear 90-day attendance focus. You can apply now using the link in the show notes. Thanks for listening. Let's stay connected.